Quilter's newsletter, Machine Quilting Tips and Techniques, is brought to you by Bernina, Made to Create, and Benartex, Fabric for Quilters by Quilters.
Hi, I'm Connie Fanders, and this is Quilter's newsletter, Machine Quilting Tips and Techniques with Bernina. So you're a quilting enthusiast, and you're looking for a new machine. So what are some of the features that you, as a quilter, should think about before purchasing a machine? Well, there's several factors to look at, and there's so many machines on the market. So let me help you look at the features, and then you can decide if that is something that is important to you as you are out shopping. The first thing I would think about as a quilter is the size of the machine. I enjoy doing a lot of machine quilting, so I want to be able to have enough size in the machine to allow my quilt to flow freely through. As you can see here with this beautiful fabric that I'm starting to do a quilt with from Benartex, the roll of the quilt will fit into the arm of the machine. And the larger the quilt, the more space this is going to take. So you will want to have a machine that has enough space horizontally as well as vertically to accommodate the size of your quilt. Now this particular Bernina machine, which is one of our 7 series of machines, does have 10 inches from the needle to the inside of the arm and almost 5.5 inches in height. So you can do a good size quilt right in the arm of this machine. Another feature to think about when you're purchasing a machine is the lighting. It's very important to have good lighting on your entire sewing surface as you are quilting. Then there is the size of the bobbin. You know, when I'm quilting and sewing away, I don't like to stop and change the bobbin. So you want to look for machines that has a larger bobbin. You can see, for instance, here, the bobbin that goes into our 7 series machine, it will hold 80% more thread on it than what you will with a standard bobbin. So I can sew much longer on my quilt project without having to change the bobbin. Another feature that I truly love with my Bernina is the fact that it cuts my threads quickly and very easily. So when I complete a seam, or my quilt block, or even my quilt project, I just simply push the button. It'll do some securing stitches for me, and my thread is clipped. Now, if I don't want those securing stitches, I simply go into the setup mode and turn those off, and it will not secure the stitch. So I have a choice. But the thread cutter, especially when I'm doing machine quilting, I don't like to dig underneath my project in order to clip those threads. So that thread cutter is a very handy feature to have. The next thing on the important list for me is I like to have a monitor that will tell me if my upper thread or my lower thread, my bobbin thread, has either run out or it has broken. That saves me a time in having to go back and restitch my seam that didn't have any thread stitching through it. Then we have a slide-on table. I feel this is very important too, and something you may want to think about when looking at machines. Depending upon the cabinet that you have or where you're going to place the machine, you want to think about the surface that you have. Even if you like to go to classes and take your machine with you, you want to have a slide-on table so you aren't always working on the narrow free arm. That is sometimes hard to get your stitches nice and even and straight if you're working just on the free arm of the machine. Then, of course, we have needle stop up and down. I like to be able to control my needle and have it either stop down in my fabric, as you see here. So the minute I lift up on my foot control, it will stop down in my fabric, or at a push of a button, I can have it immediately stop up without taking another extra stitch. So the needle up and down is very important for me to have as well. Then the final feature that I want to share with you is Again, one of my personal favorites and one I would definitely look for in a new quilting machine, and that's the Freehand system. What the Freehand system is a lever that comes out from the front of the machine that I can raise and use with my knee. And what this does is, you can see here, I can raise and lower my presser foot just by moving my knee to the side and raising the Freehand system. But our Freehand system serves more of a function than just raising and lowering the presser foot. What it also does at the same time is it will lower my feed dogs, so therefore creating more space for me to put my quilted project under my foot. It also releases my tension on my upper thread so that my threads will release easily. So the Freehand system is definitely another feature that I look for when I am purchasing a new machine. So there's several other features on machines, but I feel these are the top features to look for when you are shopping for a new machine. So tune in for our next episode when we talk about specifically, there's quilter's editions. And what is the difference between a quilter's edition and a standard sewing machine?
Quilter's newsletter, Machine Quilting Tips and Techniques, is brought to you by Bernina, Made to Create, and Bernartex, Fabric for Quilters by Quilters.